the dead of night. We're in the zombie room with Twilight's parasites, with self-inflicted wounds. We are the dead of night. We're in the zombie room.
Welcome to episode 53 of the Hodgepodge podcast. I'm your host, Doug.
And I'm Dirty A. As the name suggests, we're going to talk about a hodgepodge of topics from movies, music, TV, and other pop culture events.
And on this episode, we'll be discussing the films John Wick, Birdman, and Nightcrawler. You can reach us at the hodgepodgepodcast@gmail.com or over on our website, thehodgepodgepodcast.com, or head over to iTunes and YouTube and subscribe. And I can see you were about to tell me I forgot a film, but I did not because I don't list all the films in the intro.
Okay, I mean, that's one way to go, I guess.
If they're at the site, they'll see which films are in there.
So, anyway, before we, I guess, get kicked off talking about the movies,
Yeah.
why don't we talk about some recent developments in the comic book world?
Yes. As is becoming our norm, we have been away for a week doing stuff.
Life.
While we were away. We were supposed to do John Wick last week, but life got in the way. And in the interim, Marvel, not to be outdone by DC and Warner Brothers,
2 weeks prior.
Yeah, announced a shit ton of movies.
They're like, oh yeah, we can do that too.
And I was listening to Collider. I was listening to their podcast, and Matt Goldberg on there. He's like, I think it was Adam Chitwood. They pointed out, they're like, yes, and apparently Ant-Man is no longer in Phase 3.
They didn't even bother with it.
Ant-Man is just like the ugly stepchild of Marvel.
It's just its
Marvel's
own
movie.
thing now. They didn't even bother. Although they did announce yesterday or today that they would have some tiny characters in Ant-Man.
Yeah, great. Nice to see that they care.
Yeah.
So Marvel announced their quote-unquote Phase 3 slate, which is supposed to be after Ant-Man. I was going to say Age of Ultron, but it's actually after Ant-Man, technically. And it starts with, in 2016, with Captain America 3, which has now been revealed. I think we talked about this last time.
Civil War.
That's going to be Civil War. The Civil War storyline in the comics is going to have to be tweaked greatly for the movies, because half the characters that are in that can't be in this movie.
Yeah, there's still a lot of speculation that DC and Marvel are in talks. Sony and
No, you mean Sony and Fox.
Yeah, Sony and Fox are in talks to pull in some of those characters. I think the latest word, or at least a rumor, is that they may reach an agreement on Spider-Man, but it's very, very unlikely that you'll see the X-Men.
Oh no, yeah, never. Yeah. Fox makes way too much money off that shit. Tony Stark is going to be in Captain America 3. And they also announced that another character is going to be in Captain America 3, Black Panther. And he's going to be played... Not quite. He's going to be played by Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, from 42...
And Get On Up.
He's a really good actor. And
he is, yeah.
I think he'll bring something great to that role.
I was still holding out for Chiwetel.
I know you were.
It's okay.
But
Chadwick Boseman's okay.
I think he'll be good, yeah.
Then also later in 2016 is a movie that they've already announced. It's just Doctor Strange. And the word is right now that, although it's not official yet, that Benedict Cumberbatch is going to be...
Mr. Cumberbatch. Sherlock himself.
Bumberbutt Cumberbund is going to be Doctor Strange.
Yep, I think that's a good fit.
He looks the role. I mean, he'll definitely look the role, but,
that's all we got to go on.
Yeah. Then in 2017, in May of that year, they've got the Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which they have not even begun doing anything on yet.
Well,
and
well, I mean, they had a neat little poster.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
They spray painted on too.
Then later in that summer, I guess they're gonna have Thor 3,
Locks of Love,
which it's actually gonna be called Ragnarok.
Not Roller Rock.
Right. And apparently that's supposed to tie in very heavily into they basically said that this Thor movie is basically going to be what Captain America: The Winter Soldier was to Phase 2. So apparently, it's supposed to turn everything on its head. Which I guess when you have a title like Ragnarok,
hopefully it will turn Thor on its head, because that movie by itself sucks balls.
Where's Matt King when we need him?
Hey, I'm not
to stick up for Thor.
Well, I'm not disputing Thor as a character or in the comics, right? That's fine, but the movies just are not on par with the other stuff for me. I don't know.
Yeah, it's Thor is probably my least favorite of all of it too. But then you've got the Black Panther solo movie will be in November of that year. Then in May of 2018, they've got Avengers: The Infinity War Part 1, and that means that Thanos is going to finally get involved in things with the Avengers.
The Gauntlet.
And the Gauntlet, the Infinity Gauntlet, all that stuff. Then later that year, they're going to do Captain Marvel, finally, which is going to be Carol Danvers, who is Captain Marvel right now in the comic book. She used to be Miss Marvel, but now she's Captain Marvel. And
no casting.
Oh, no casting yet.
That's way too early.
I'm still hoping that Katie Sackhoff gets that part.
Yeah, that's been the early rumors for the past 6 months, I guess. Yeah. So we'll see.
But who knows? Maybe it is cast, and this person might have a cameo in Avengers too. We have no idea.
That's true.
Then at the end of 2018, they're doing the Inhumans, which is it's interesting that they're doing the Inhumans because Inhumans were tied in a lot with Fantastic Four, but I guess Avengers too as well. But the rumor is that they're going to turn Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch into Inhumans to get around the mutant problem, which is something we talked about several episodes ago with Matt. That we thought that they might do that.
That creates your X-Men type of...
Right, exactly. And the Inhumans are basically these characters who were like alien... I think they're from another planet, I forget, but they go into this stuff called the Terrigen Mists, and then that gives them all these powers.
Never even heard of them before.
There's also a rumor that Vin Diesel might also be in that movie as Black Bolt, their leader, who says nothing. He doesn't even talk.
Him doubling up.
Yeah.
He's good at the not talking a lot thing.
So he doesn't talk, but when he does talk, it's like his voice is like his destructive power.
3 words.
I am Black Bolt. That's 4. Sorry. And then in 2019, there will be Avengers: Infinity War Part 2. And we were just discussing this yesterday because we saw the trailer for Hunger Games: Mockingjay Part 1 of 7. And
fucking duck.
And you said something about the Avengers, and I was like, well, Avengers is a little bit different because it's not based on like a book that should not be 2 movies long.
Agreed. This is a very lengthy story that they're talking about. But my point is,
they might as well just make it 3 and 4. Just make it 3 and 4.
Yeah. Call it 2 movies. Having a day. This whole Part 1 and Part 2 jazz.
Yeah.
It's just unnecessary.
And the other thing that doesn't make any sense too is like making it Part 1 and Part 2, and then you're going to put in these 2 movies in between them, Captain Marvel and Inhumans. It's like, well, does that take place after or before? Or what is this? So,
but given that it's Marvel, I'm sure that'll be addressed.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, they know what they're doing. Yeah. I don't have faith in them at this point that they've got a solid plan.
Yeah,
so.
But that's a pretty ambitious slate.
That's a tall order. Yeah.
Fuck
you, DC.
As also on Collider that they pointed out that none of these movies are really in production yet. Doctor Strange is a little bit. They at least have a director.
Right.
Captain America 3 has a director and writers because it's just the same guys from Winter Soldier. The rumor is also that the Russo brothers will also probably be directing the 2 Avengers movies.
That's right. Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if they get the Captain America writers to write those as well because they're pretty good. I forget the guy's name, Marcus and something else. But yeah, like when I was listening to Collider, they're like, it's kind of ridiculous how like this is like the big news and everything. Everyone's like, oh, these movies are coming out, and then they're like, yeah, you do know there's an actual movie coming out in May called Avengers 2 that nobody's seen yet.
You should be promoting what's immediate.
Exactly.
In the future, which we already talked about phenomenal trailer.
Oh yeah, the trailer's great. Yeah, the
Good
trailer's
God,
really good. I
so
watched
good.
it just the other day. It's a really, really good trailer.
Oh yeah, James Spader's a creepy motherfucker.
Yeah. And then the Avengers teaser, how it should have ended, is actually very funny too. So if you go to how it should have ended and check that out, it's really funny. But
yeah.
So the comic book movie arms race is now running about equal because there will be 2 Justice League movies, two
right.
Justice League's movie as well.
And then they just made on a tangent to that. They just made an announcement today, kind of a kick in the butt to, I guess, some people that are fans of Daredevil, that it doesn't look like it's quite possible that Bullseye will not be in the show.
What? I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Shit.
Someone asked
in this season or just in general?
At least the season.
Oh, okay.
But it said series. Because it said the question was tweeted to the writer.
Right.
Who'd you get to play, or who's playing Bullseye, and the response was 2 words, just no one. So you take that,
Well, I mean,
it could mean they haven't cast it yet.
That probably means they haven't cast it yet because Bullseye,
he's the
like
main
his
foe.
Yeah. Well, yes and no. I mean, the main foe is Kingpin, but Bullseye,
as far as the hand to hand type of
Bullseye is obviously he's very prominent in Daredevil's life because of what happens to Elektra. But if Elektra isn't even going to be in this series to begin with, then there's no reason for Bullseye really to be in it yet either.
But in any case, that came out today. That was interesting. Also, they rapped on Star Wars today.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah, they had the rap party just like the other night or something like that. And
Episode 7, it's a wrap.
Well, for now, I'm sure if they have to do reshoots, I'm sure Mark Hamill's going to regret shaving that beard off. But
he'll just paste on some.
Yeah, he'll just paste it on. He'll look like Hugh Jackman in the reshoots for X-Men 2, where you can clearly see he's wearing a wig and it's not his normal hair. I'm actually pretty excited for Star Wars. Despite myself. I'm hoping
they're doing it to us again, Doug.
I know,
they're doing it to us again.
I'm hoping it's going to be good. A friend of mine he posted online on Facebook, and he's very cynical. He's very cynical and jaded, and he was like,
rightfully so.
He's like, I have zero interest in the next one. He's like, I don't care what J.J. Abrams says. He goes, I'm actually more interested to see what Rian Johnson's going to do with number 8. And I'm like, yeah, that could be cool because he's a very interesting filmmaker.
Yeah, I'm not going to be cynical like that. I guess I should say it would not surprise me if it was a load of horseshit.
Yeah,
but I expect pretty good things.
Yeah, I hope so.
Abrams, he fits the bill. He can do it. He's capable.
The only thing I'm really hoping is that the major problems with Star Trek were mainly the writers, or
that's what I'm saying.
And not Abrams.
Yeah,
but,
you can't really push all that off on Abrams. So.
Well, yeah, he is the director though.
You're given a script to work with. That's all you had to work with.
That's true.
Anyway, so lots of big news today.
Yeah, big geek movie news going on. So
let's talk about some reviews.
Some movies.
Let's review some movies.
Okay, because that's what we do here at the Hodgepodge Podcast.
And we do it well.
For
you folks. For you.
I guess.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we're okay.
Go ahead.
All right, let's start with the one we saw a couple weeks back that we're just finally getting to, John Wick.
John Wick.
This was one that kind of more or less was one of those movies that just kind of creeped out of nowhere within like the month right before it came out. No real build up.
Yeah.
No massive build up to its release.
Yeah.
But we were both pretty interested in seeing it.
Yeah. And
I have to say it delivered what we expected from it.
Yeah, I mean for the most part it did.
So this is the story is very basic, okay? It's a timeless revenge story. So John Wick is an ex-assassin, ex-hitman for hire
for the mob.
Yeah. For the mob. Or at least his skills had mostly been retained by the mob at that point. Mm-hmm. Who had some 5 to 7 years, I can't remember the time frame anymore. He turned away from that life for the love of a woman. Okay,
Was it 5 years?
yeah, so,
It's 5 and
something
change.
like
I think
that.
he said.
So for love of this woman, he turned away from his life of crime,
Bridget Moynihan.
and that's right, and invested all his time in this relationship.
And then she said, "You're suffocating me. Get away from me."
Literally, the movie basically opens. She's sick. She's got cancer. Right. She dies. He is kind of unfortunately crossed paths with some young Russian gangsters. Part of the child of the main head. Is it Russian or Czech?
They were
somewhere like that. It was like around kind of Russian, right?
Were they Chechens?
Chechens or Russians? Anyway,
Something like that.
Something like that.
We saw something else that were Chechens, but
yeah,
I can't remember if it was this one, but it might have been Chechens.
You're thinking of the bar.
Yeah. Okay, so it's Russian.
Drop bar.
They're Russian. Yeah.
Drop bar.
The drop. Yeah.
The drop. So yeah. Anyway, the Russian mob. They get into. He just happens to run into him. Shit happens. Let's just say. Let's not give everything away, but they get into.
They pretty much give it away in the trailer.
They do. They get into it. He they beat him up pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
In a home invasion. They kill his dog
that his wife gave him,
which was a gift sent to him from his wife after she died.
It was a parting gift.
Like a parting gift, right. So they killed the dog. He's super pissed and basically goes on a rampage.
You forgot the most important part. They stole his car.
My God, they stole his car. Right? Well, that's where it started. Anyway. So he goes on a rampage of revenge to wrong this right. Or to right this right. Well, technically he's wronging the wrong.
57 wrongs don't make it right.
So he's on this rampage to right this wrong, and as he sees it, and lots of blood and carnage ensue. Right?
Oh my God!
And of course, that you end up with the head of the mob versus him. Right? But this movie is textbook design for action. For me, Keanu Reeves did a really good job here. He pretty much nailed what you want to see out of this movie. Is it from a perspective of plot? It's super simple. There's nothing here, but that's not why you go see this movie. For me, it's you go see this movie for the action, and it's amazing. If there's one thing I learned from this movie, you always kill the person closest to you last.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I've learned from this movie.
And I learned that you throw a guy on the floor and then shoot him in the head. And that's your one move.
But you do it last. You do that last after you kill everyone else farther away.
Yeah, you basically summed up the plot. There is no plot really. It's just
it's just revenge.
This movie was a lot of fun, but and I liked it. I enjoyed myself when I watched it. But ultimately, it's it is weak on the plot and stuff like that. And there were some moments in it, like you said, like when they did the subtitles and stuff like that, where they try to make it kind of goofier,
right? A little playful. To try to turn a little playful.
But I felt like the movie needed a little bit more winking humor, like Shoot 'em Up.
Shoot 'em Up, because we originally Doug and I were thinking about doing this one with Shoot 'em Up and kind of a compare, and I always knew this was going to be more serious than Shoot 'em Up.
Yeah.
But it it tried to do a little wink and nod.
Yeah.
To me, that kind of fell apart. I didn't like that too much.
It was fun. It was a fun movie.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it was here for. It's a popcorn movie.
Yeah, it's not. But it wasn't. Yeah, a lot of people were like, "It's his best movie since The Matrix." I'm like,
"Oh yeah, well, slow down a little bit."
I'm like, I guess.
I mean, there's not a lot of acting to be done here. Right?
No,
it's just,
oh god,
you know what I'm saying?
He's his typical surfer dude.
Yeah, so. Yeah. But he's good, and I'm a Keanu Reeves fan. I'm not gonna lie, I like most of his stuff. I did.
People keep asking me if I'm back. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
But he encompasses the role here of a hitman, and he does it well, and like you said, it's fun, and that's what this movie is meant to be. It's not meant to be a thinker.
No, yeah.
I mean, every single kill, we're like looking at each other, going, "Oh!" It's just fun to watch, and it had a pretty good cast. I mean, overall, you mentioned Monahan. Willem Dafoe is like kind of his best friend in the world of hitmen, I guess.
He's like a colleague, I guess.
Protege? No, not he'd be the protege of Willem Dafoe, if anything. But
I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ian McShane, who owns he owns this hotel, which is like a neutral spot. It kind of reminded me a lot.
He was great.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of the Syndicate Hotel in Payback.
Yeah,
it reminded me a lot of that.
Yeah.
I mean, even though that hotel was like their base of
that
operations,
was the mob's base.
That was the base of operations, but it was kind of like
This was a base of operations for hitmen for hire,
right?
Where it's kind of a
it was neutral. It was a neutral
zone. Yeah. No killing in this hotel, basically.
Lance Reddick is in this. He has you see him in the trailer. He's like the concierge at the hotel. Dean Winters is in this. He is the Russian guy's right hand man.
Yeah.
Mayhem. He's Mayhem.
Alfie Allen.
Yeah, Alfie Allen from Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
He's basically playing another version of Theon Greyjoy.
Yeah.
He's a nastier Theon Greyjoy.
Yeah, he's like a punk kid.
The Russian mobster is played by Michael Nyquist, who people will know from the Swedish Girl with Dragon Tattoo.
Yeah, he plays the
movies.
journalist.
He plays Blomkist.
Blomkist, yeah.
And then Adrienne Palicki is in this as well. She just made her debut a couple weeks ago on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as Mockingbird. Bobby Morrison, now she's in this movie too. She's a female assassin. I mean it's a fun movie. It's dumb as shit.
Yeah,
but
all
it's
in
fun.
all, the pieces for what this movie is supposed to be, they all fit together and work.
Yeah.
You can't go. The way I look at it is, movies like this, you can't go and grade them the same you would an Oscar not worthy movie. That's not what this movie is trying to be.
Right.
You got to grade it as to where, or review it rather, to its category. And I thought it was pretty top notch, shoot 'em up type of movie.
But not as good as Shoot 'em Up.
No, right. That was too inventive. But no, so it was good. We'd recommend it. If you haven't already seen it, check it out. It's worth checking out. Certainly on video if you wait. It's one to watch.
Yeah, if you've got an afternoon to kill and want to see a fun action movie, go see John Wick.
Yep.
Another movie we saw it's out now in theaters. It's semi-limited release. I mean, it's playing in a bunch of theaters, but not as much as a wide release. This is a movie that's gotten fantastic reviews from pretty much everybody. It's the latest from Alejandro, I'm going to butcher his last name, Inarritu.
Sure.
And it is Birdman. Or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance.
The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance. That's what I always refer to it as.
No, you don't. I wish it was Harvey Birdman, attorney at law.
Yes.
But it's not.
No, it's definitely not.
This is... it's a very weird movie.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly.
Yeah, it's a very weird movie. Sometimes, for me, it got a little too weird, where I was just like, it kind of took me a little bit out of the movie a little bit. But it's very funny. Very, very funny. And it's got a fantastic cast. Michael Keaton is the lead in this, and he is fantastic.
Yeah.
Ed Norton's in it. Emma Stone.
Who's also great.
Zach Galifianakis.
Good for Zach Galifianakis for having this role where he just very subtly plays it.
Yeah. Naomi Watts is in this too. They all do a great job. The story is basically that there is a guy named Riggin is an actor. He's a washed-up actor a little bit. He, once upon a time, played a superhero named Birdman in 3 successful movies, and then he walked away before he did Birdman 4. This character is played by Michael Keaton. If this is starting to sound like real life, you're not alone. So,
Because as we all know, Michael Keaton played Aquaman.
no, wrong.
No?
Incorrect.
Oh.
As we all know, Michael Keaton played the Batman in 1989's Batman and Batman Returns.
The Tim Burton franchise.
And then he walked away when Joel Schumacher came on board for Batman Forever.
Smart man.
Yeah, smart move. And there's so many parallels to this. And Iranitu, I don't think he wrote it for Michael Keaton, but he wanted Michael Keaton to play this role.
I have a feeling that the story surely came first, but it's just a perfect blend.
Yeah.
Perfect fit there.
And so what's happening is Regan is basically doing this. He's
Off-Broadway.
Off-Broadway, writing, directing, and starring in this production of he adapts a novel to a play, and this movie takes place during his preview week,
kind of
leading up to the
week prior to the opening.
Leading up to the opening night. It's really funny. There's a lot of stream of consciousness stuff in it. A lot of it is in Regan's head, and you don't know for sure what's real and what's not in certain cases.
And I think that's one of the areas where the director here did a really good job.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
The way it kind of melded all that together.
The other thing that this movie is most noted for is that it appears, the way they shoot it, it appears is that it's in just all one long take. There's no cutaway scenes. There's no fade outs or anything like that. It just seems like it's one long piece. And that's interesting because it makes it feel very theatrical, almost like we're watching a play within a play.
Exactly right. Yeah, that's how I took it.
Which is good. However, some of the cuts, I kind of felt like the same way I felt when I saw Chronicle, and how Chronicle did like the found footage thing, but they really stretched it to as far as it would go, and then until the point where you're like, come on, really? So it's like he does a couple things here with the camera where like he'll pan all the way up, and then all of a sudden it turns to night, and he comes back down. I'm like, that's not exactly Goodfellas walking through a restaurant. Come on, that's one take. So he does stretch it a little bit, but it's very interesting. It's a very interesting technique, and I felt, to me, it actually put me a little bit more on edge, because when a scene changes, you get to have like
you have a little release.
You get to exhale.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in this, you don't. It's just constant.
It's very edgy.
Yeah.
You're nervous.
Yeah.
You're nervous for this character and what's happening, and it is very funny. A lot of it's more darker humor.
Oh yeah.
But it's just got, as funny as it is, you're still just nervous for, is he going to pull this off? Is it going to work? Because it's not just the play, right? He's got a lot of personal things going on.
He's got personal stuff going on. And he's got a lot of his own personal money tied up in the play.
Right. This project of his is basically full investment for him.
Yeah, it's make or break.
He is all in on this, just trying to salvage his image, to show that he is an actor above all else. He didn't just play some superhero on screen that didn't require any kind of formal acting training. Right? He wasn't just a character; he was an actor, and that comes into direct conflict when he's discussing some stuff with one of the critics.
Yeah, that was a good scene.
That is a really good scene. Yeah. But I like this movie a lot. I think we mentioned it several weeks ago on our podcast. This was one of the ones that I was looking out for.
Yeah.
And it delivered. You're right. It's not perfect. And it does stretch things out a little bit at times.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I thought the camera worked really well.
Yeah.
And I really like I mentioned earlier, the use of what's real and what's not real, all mixed together in the one scene, or in the one series of scenes, where you can't quite tell when reality begins and ends,
right?
As opposed to his thought process, because part of this narrative is he's got a voice in his head, which is his character of Birdman. almost as his conscience, almost just kind of
Yeah.
eating away at him, telling him he's not good enough, or telling him you just need to go back and do what you're good at, man.
Right. Which, like I told you after we saw the film, is very reminiscent of Batman in The Dark Knight Returns. I know you watched the DVD version of that, but when you read the book, it's filled with Batman in Bruce Wayne's head talking to him, saying, "You can't escape me," blah 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 blah. You know, so it's almost like they are two different characters, and so it's very very similar like that. Almost to the point where I'm like, I think DC should get some royalties on this movie. So the other thing that kind of I don't want to say rubbed me the wrong way, but just kind of left me wanting a little bit more is like they develop a couple other storylines in the movie that just kind of don't go anywhere. They just kind of peter out, like Emma Stone and Ed Norton characters that kind of peters out. And,
I don't think so. I disagree with that because the point of that story was to then tie right back into Regan's character, right? So what happens is Ed Norton plays a successful Broadway actor who comes into this show, and he's very self-aware of how good he is, right? He's extremely narcissistic. And he develops a relationship with Regan's daughter, who is kind of his assistant behind the scenes for the play. And I guess what you're referring to is where that relationship really goes. Yeah. But for me, the only point of that relationship was so that Regan saw them hooking up and then freaked out. Right. And that was the purpose. Yeah. The purpose wasn't to go any further to explore that, and that's why that worked for me. Is because I didn't think that was necessarily a side plot. It was just to kind of push that main plot a little further.
Yeah, I also felt that when it changed characters too, that was also straining the shift, the single shot
little bit. Yeah.
If it had just stayed with Regan the whole time, then I could have.
It did when it changed point of views a little bit. Yeah.
But I mean, it's a great movie. I mean, Birdman's really great. We saw one review, I guess, on Collider that was like really negative. We were surprised at that.
We're grasping at feathers.
Right, but again, like Dirty A said, it's not perfect, but it's really good. It's really good. I wouldn't be surprised if Michael Keaton gets nominated for an Oscar. He was fantastic. Job. He was really good in this. It was just he did a great job.
Yeah, this is one to go see, folks. It's different. It's different, and that's part of the charm for me. Yeah. Is that it's not paint by numbers movie here.
Right.
It's something new. It is. I'd say it is a little exploring different areas. Experimenting a little bit with filmmaking here, and I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Let's talk about a movie, another Naomi Watts movie that we both saw. We saw this separately, and this is a movie that is getting pretty good reviews. But people are complaining that it's too sentimental. And
they can all go to hell.
Yeah, I mean, this is a movie with Melissa McCarthy's in it, and it also has the great Bill Murray in it. And this movie is called St. Vincent. And it's a film that when I saw the trailer, I was like, yeah, I guess I'll go see that. And I saw the movie just the other day and loved it. I thought it was fantastic. It was... is it a little sweet and sentimental? Yes. But sometimes you need to see a movie like that.
You're right. I mean, it's maybe a little... There are parts that are a little forced in terms of...
there's things that are a little easy.
In terms of the sentimentality.
Yeah.
But that's what it's here to do.
Yeah.
And man, it's so good.
Yeah. Basically what happens is Melissa McCarthy is a single mother. She and her kid are moving into this Brooklyn neighborhood, and their neighbor is resident grouch Vincent, and he is taking up with a Russian prostitute / stripper who's played by Naomi Watts. And basically, Melissa McCarthy finds herself in a jam and needs Vincent's help to watch her kid. Her son is played by, let me get the kid's name right, because he's really, really good. Jaden Lieberher.
Yeah.
Lieberher, yeah. He was really good.
He was.
I think this is his first movie. He was really good in it.
Which says a lot, because this movie can't exist without someone playing a really good kid character.
Yeah. And basically, Vincent is, he's a scumbag.
He's your complete anti-babysitter.
Yeah.
But he's
there's more than meets the eye, though.
The one time that she needs his help turns into kind of a ongoing need.
Right.
And so he basically ends up becoming this kid's guardian after school while McCarthy's character is working. Like Chris O'Dowd's in this as well, who did awesome.
Yeah,
he's always good.
Chris O'Dowd. Basically, the kid goes to Catholic school, even though he's Jewish. And
that's one of my favorite scenes is when they're introducing him, and he's like, "I think I'm Jewish."
And Chris O'Dowd plays his teacher, brother Garrity. Terrence Howard is in this. He plays a bookie that Vincent owes quite a bit of money to.
Yeah, we don't really know the depth of that debt other than it's extensive.
Right. And we'll also mention Dario Barroso plays Ochinsky. I'm saying the name wrong, but Ochinsky. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Ochinsky. And he's basically the bully at school. And he gives Oliver, who is Melissa McCarthy's son, Oliver, he gives him a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
And
For a while.
And then their relationship turns into less adversarial, which was nice.
It was a nice turn there. It felt real.
Yeah.
Kids this age, that stuff happens. You become friends after you fight.
Right. Melissa McCarthy's really, really good in this. She's just playing a normal person. She's not playing a character.
She's completely understated here, which is wonderful. Yeah. Exactly right. She's not a cartoon of some bumbling, yelling character. She's an actual actor.
Naomi Watts, on the other hand, is a cartoon.
Yes,
as the Russian prostitute.
That's true, pretty much.
And Bill Murray as usual is really, really great.
We're talking about all these people who are great, but this is Bill Murray's.
It's Bill Murray's
movie, and he is so good. He's
really
awesome.
Good. Yeah.
If you loved him in Lost in Translation and Broken Flowers, he's right back at it again.
Yeah.
Really good.
Really, really good in this movie. I'll admit, I teared up at the end.
I did.
Not gonna lie.
I cried, folks.
It was
it's
a very heartfelt ending to the film, and it's really good. I mean, it's PG-13, but there's some stuff, I guess to some people might be questionable to be.
Yeah,
PG-13. They do use their one F-bomb.
It kind of plays a little raunchier than it really is.
Yeah.
Like if you step back and if you're thinking about it in broad strokes, you'll be like, yeah, it's kind of a bad movie. But if you really look at it, it's really not that bad.
Yeah.
And PG-13 is a perfectly fine rating for it. But like you mentioned, Bill Murray, he plays a super big grouch who's got is kind of more than meets the eye. Character and
he's a transformer. He's a transformer.
That's what we're saying.
He's a robot.
Spoiler: he's a robot. He's a robot man. We said it. No, but it's there's a reason why he lives in squalor and does all these things. There's a means to an end. Right?
Why he is the way he is.
Right, and it's very apropos to the story's meaning. And it's extremely heartfelt and heartwarming. And you're right, the end is, like that whole thing, it does feel a little forced when you're like, they just all of a sudden, pick your favorite saint, but that's the vehicle here, and
I mean, there's
really
certain coincidences in this movie that and things are a little bit easy, but it's a sweet movie. It's it's good. It was written and directed by Theodore Melfi, and if you have the time, go on Entertainment Weekly and entertainmentweekly.com and find the story about how he got Bill Murray to be in this movie.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's
crazy.
It is because if you're not aware, Bill Murray doesn't just accept like calls for movies.
Well, he doesn't have an agent.
He doesn't have an agent.
He doesn't have an agent. Doesn't have a manager.
So he doesn't just go through normal channels. To get Bill Murray, you have to really jump through some hoops.
Yeah.
And this is a really good story. And you once you see the final product, you know why the director had to have him.
Yeah.
I mean, this would have been with a lesser actor. This would have been nothing.
Yeah.
But Bill Murray's amazing in this movie. The end, I could not help but stay through the whole end when he's at the very end. The credits when it's just Bill Murray sitting outside his house in character singing Bob Dylan's "Shelter from the Storm." He just sings the whole song.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It just occurred to me that this movie is a little bit, very a little bit similar to Uncle Buck, with the character who's a slob and not for kids and all this kind of stuff, and got stuff going on in his life, and it was not exactly, but it's like
maybe a little bit.
Because I was just thinking about like when you said
Uncle Buck, he was a slob because he was a slob,
right?
I mean,
but you said he had to get Bill Murray to play his part. I thought
who else could have?
I was like John Candy might have been able to play his part.
Yeah,
but,
this is kind of a John Candy's sentimental role like that.
Yeah,
I'll give you that. I miss that guy, but Bill Murray is just. He finds new ways to amaze me all the time, and this is just another one of those performances that just knocked me off my feet. He knows when to be funny, he knows when to be crude, and he knows when to be sentimental. Mm-hmm. And every line he speaks, he's got a reason for how he delivers that dialogue. Mm-hmm. So definitely check out St. Vincent.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Check out St. Vincent, and we will go from one of the most likable movies of the year to quite possibly the worst character I've seen on film since maybe Daniel Plainview.
Right, yeah.
And There Will Be Blood.
The movie is still kind of likable.
Oh, yeah.
But oh my gosh.
We're talking about Nightcrawler. This is a movie with Jake Gyllenhaal, who lost a lot of weight for this role because he looks freakish.
Yeah, he's almost sickly.
Yeah.
He's not. I mean, he's not Christian Bale in The Machinist.
No.
But he's very thin.
Matthew McConaughey. Nah, maybe not Matthew McConaughey bad either, but almost there.
Yeah,
almost there.
He's yeah.
This movie is definitely not for everybody. Based solely on the fact that Gyllenhaal's character Lou Bloom is, like I said, he is the worst human being ever.
Yeah, like this
who
dude
ever lived.
This dude from beginning to end is a sociopath from hell.
I mean, he is. Wow, the things he does in this movie they're so fucked up. But the movie's great. It's a great
it really
movie.
Is. My hat's off to Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, it's written and directed by Dan Gilroy. He worked on like The Bourne Legacy and Real Steel, and I'm pretty sure he's related to like Tony Gilroy.
Oh yeah, okay. Is he? I didn't really put that together.
Yeah, Tony Gilroy is his older brother.
Okay.
Oh, and I didn't realize this. He's also married to Renee Russo, which explains why she's.
Well, there you go. Because that was kind of a throwback like that. That's kind of that's interesting that she's in this.
Yeah. And Tony Gilroy, of course, wrote the screenplays for the Bourne movies.
All the trilogy.
Yeah, he wrote those, and he also. He directed The Bourne Legacy, and he also directed Michael Clayton. Tony Gilroy did.
Awesome movie.
Yeah, Michael Clayton's a great movie. But Dan Gilroy is the writer and director on this. the premise for Nightcrawler is that Lou Bloom, played by Gyllenhaal, is basically a thief. And he kind of gets into the world of TV journalism, mainly focusing on crime
and
in L.A.
I would preface that by saying he's a thief in that
he's a hustler.
It's a means to an end. Yeah, he's more of a hustler.
Yeah.
And
a con man.
Yeah, a con man, and thieving is kind of just gets him from point A to point B. I mean, yes, he is a thief.
But see, I would say he's a thief based on everything he does, even when he gets into the news stuff.
Oh well, no, that's.
I mean,
fair
he
point.
steals it.
Fair point.
Yeah,
He's still thieving. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just not. He's not the thief you might be thinking of.
Right. He's not like a breaking and entering
burglar.
thief. Yeah, he's not like a breaking and entering thief.
Yeah.
And he crosses paths with Rene Russo, who is a news director on the night shift, basically, for the lowest rated local news in LA, and they strike up a partnership, basically, where he goes and films. He gets into these crime scenes, like, shootings, accidents, and it's the gorier the better.
Right. And by the way, that's what Nightcrawler is. It's a reference that's a term used to describe these people who
they're like freelancers,
freelance journalists who scan the police band to find gory accidents at night and then go film it and then sell it to the highest bidder.
Because as Bill Paxton says in the movie, if it bleeds, it leads, which is a common thing about local news. Nightcrawler does not refer to the X-Man Nightcrawler, unfortunately,
or the bug, or the bug.
Right.
Although this guy is kind of a buggy.
Oh my god!
Probably
he is the worst. He.
I mean, it's like every scene in this movie is uncomfortable.
No.
Uncomfortable watching it, but
there is a scene.
The date
where he goes out to dinner with Rene Russo, and I turned to Dirty A and I said, "This might be the most uncomfortable scene I've ever seen in my life in a movie.
It's so
uncomfortable.
But for him, it's just second. This is just it. This is just
he's out there. This character, but Gyllenhaal does a fantastic job.
And by the way, she's not much better.
Oh no, she's not. She's not either.
She's just got a job. Is all.
Yeah, she's hustling too in her own way.
Right.
Nightcrawler. I don't want to give anything away because you don't want to give
the way the story unfolds on itself.
I will say it does take a little while to get going. It does. It probably could have been just a little bit shorter.
That's true,
tighter.
But Gyllenhaal carries you through that.
Oh yeah.
Because you're so enthralled with his character,
yeah.
you hardly even notice,
right?
That maybe the plot takes a little bit to get going because really you spend about 15-20 minutes just realizing what a fucking crazy batshit character this guy is. I was amazed. I really like this movie. You're right. There's to talk about the plot here, you've already given the highlight bullet points, and that's really all you need to know here. Is that you have Gyllenhaal playing this sociopath who's out to get stories, and as simple as that sounds, what he does with this role is amazing. The nomination's there. There's no chance he doesn't get nominated for this role. I can't imagine a scenario where he doesn't get nominated this year for this role.
I don't know that race is going to be really, really tight.
It is, and I'm not claiming he'll win.
You've got him. You've got
Cumberbatch. Probably, yeah. Cumberbatch. I'm sure for Imitation Man, the Theory of Everything guy. What's
Eddie Redmayne? He'll definitely get nominated.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Those two for sure.
Steve Carell for Foxcatcher.
Yep, that's right. Steve Carell for Foxcatcher.
Chris Evans for Captain America. No, I'm kidding.
No, I was about to say, now you're really grasping at straws. I enjoyed that movie too.
Patrick Stewart for Professor Xavier. Come on! Yeah. No, but right there, those might be your 5.
Yeah, I agree.
And you haven't even gotten to like really into like Angelina Jolie's movie.
That's right. Yeah, I'm not too interested, but you're right.
That movie's gonna be great. That's a great story. It's a true story too.
I have no doubt it's a great story.
That you also have the movie Selma about Martin Luther King. David Oyelowo is playing Martin Luther King. So I mean, it's going to be a real tight race.
I don't know what's your take on that guy from Rosewater? Is that a possibility?
I don't know. Rosewater. I think the reviews out of the festivals were like Rosewater is. It was like an admirable job that Jon Stewart did, but it's not going to be quite there. It's not going to be quite there.
I just figure it's got the sentimentality point.
Yeah,
you know
I definitely want to see it for myself.
Yeah,
but,
right, okay. But I know it's a tight race, but I mean, this is a phenomenal job.
He does a fantastic
This
job.
is ridiculously good.
I mean, he transformed himself into this guy, and this guy is a creep. I mean, oh my God, he's creep with a capital C. And like I said, this movie's not for everybody. We left the theater. And this guy was there with his son, I guess, and he turned to his son and said, "You pick some weird movies."
And I looked at his son and said, "Good job, kid. Way to keep it up." No, this is the movie itself is very good, but it's completely driven by Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
This is more. I mentioned how St. Vincent is Bill Murray's movie. Even more so. This is all Gyllenhaal.
Oh yeah. For sure.
And he runs away with it. It's crazy good.
Yeah.
And his character is just crazy.
Yeah, it's something to see, all right. And
what's creepy is that you watch a role like this on the screen, only to realize that there are actual people like this in real life.
Yeah,
that these people actually exist, and that's what's really scary.
Yeah, it's.
But yeah, Rene Russo, Bill Paxton. Those are it's not a cast heavy movie.
No, it's not. But I'm actually looking at the cast now, and it's funny. I think all the reporters, all the news people, the newscast people, I think they were all really like newscast people.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're all.
Who was the
people.
one you said was in? God, you said it was in a show you watched, a popular show. Mad Men. Who was the Mad Men guy?
Oh, that's
He was great.
The guy from Mad Men is Kevin Rahm. He plays on Mad Men. He plays Ted Cho.
And
Choha. I forgot how to say his
he
last name.
basically he plays one of the Rene Russo's it's not really her boss colleague.
Yeah.
Who tries to be like
the voice of
reason in this.
Yeah, to say this guy is not.
And I told Doug that every time I saw him on screen, I felt like he needed to be chugging like a bottle of Pepto-Bismol. Like you could just tell how uneasy he was every time he was watching any of the.
That's pretty much his character on Mad Men too.
Nice.
He's like the voice of reason when Don Draper's going off the rails, but he's Ted on Mad Men. He's really good on that show too. But you're right. The movie is not cast heavy. The cast does a great job. It's not cast heavy.
Correct.
Also, you want to mention the other kid who plays his partner,
Riz Ahmed.
Yeah. You want to give him a
shout out.
And his performance was very natural.
It was
like almost like he really was.
Yeah. So he's kind of Louis Bloom's sidekick, assistant intern, who's
his intern.
Who?
Oh my God!
Who helps him with this job he's doing at night now, and he does a really good job. But man, this is all about Gyllenhaal, and so worth seeing if you like movies to any degree. If you're the casual movie watcher, you're right. This is not going to be.
This might not be for you,
but I mean, if you like to focus on acting,
and dark movies, because this movie's dark.
This is it.
Yeah, this is a really dark movie, and you can't win the lottery until you make the money to buy a ticket.
Yeah, I did not. This was one of those movies I knew could go either way.
Right.
I felt like it was either going to be great or fall on its face.
Yeah.
And I think
for
me, it might have even exceeded what I thought.
Yeah, for me too. I was definitely looking forward to it, but then I saw like how great the review. I think it's like 90-something% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's getting fantastic reviews, better reviews than Interstellar.
Yeah, I don't know why anyone would rate this badly unless it's someone or there's people that just doesn't like. The content.
We were joking after we saw it that our friend would not like this movie because he
right.
he likes more. Well, I won't give anything away, but
he relishes happy movies.
Yes,
more, yeah.
But he would definitely not like this movie. But yeah, it's good.
But we highly
recommend Nightcrawler. And if you're in the comic book store, also pick up Nightcrawler in the X-Men as well.
Yeah, I know. I kept looking for Alan Cummings here. I was like, where is he at? Nope. He's just really quick.
Yeah. But that'll do it for this episode of the Hodgepodge podcast. It was 4, right? Yeah.
Yes.
4 movies.
Yeah.
Four movies, and all recommended.
Yeah, four movies that range from
from
pretty good to amazing.
That's a first.
Yeah.
Usually we do like when we do a bunch of movies, it's like, yeah, just go see these 2 and skip the rest of that crap.
Yeah.
But we're in October, going into November now, and this is when a lot of the great movies come out.
And this week we go see Interstellar.
Yes,
our next podcast.
Our next episode will be all about Interstellar. It's getting good reviews, but not amazing reviews, which is kind of distressing. But at the same time, people might also be just putting too much
stock in.
Yeah, too much into it. I'm really looking forward to it. It looks amazing, and that's what everyone says.
That's the general consensus right now. Is that the cinematography is flipping phenomenal.
Well, yeah, they say this.
The plot's a little lacking.
Yeah, they say the plot is a little weak. They said it's actually schmaltzy at times, which is interesting because Christopher Nolan is always accused of being very cold.
Yeah.
But they said the visuals are amazing. We're going to see this in IMAX Thursday night, and so we will have that review for you on our next episode, and we will also have a review of something else, an early
review of a Dumb and Dumber 2.
Dumb and Dumber 2. We're seeing that this week as well, and we'll probably also talk about Big Hero 6. I would assume we'll probably go see that at some point this weekend coming up. But yeah, that'll be the next episode. Interstellar. I would say go see it.
Don't sound so enthused.
I'm just tired.
I know.
Interstellar, I would go see it for yourself because it's like all the reviews so far have been, it's really good, but so you really got to go with it. It's really good.
Basically, I think it comes down to hype.
Yeah, I think so too.
This movie has been hyped for 2 years basically.
Yeah,
and now that it's finally coming out, it may not be hitting on all cylinders every bit of expectation, but I have no doubt it'll be a solid movie.
Yeah, it's funny though because you go back and you look at like Inception, and if you look at some people now, like I wouldn't say there's a backlash against Inception, but people are like, that movie's overrated, something like that. I thought Inception was amazing when I saw it.
Great movie.
I thought it was fantastic.
The score, phenomenal.
Yeah, and Hans Zimmer's doing the score on this one too. So I know you're talking about the Burn. Get the fuck out.
So sorry. Did you speaking of Hans Zimmer, did you see the news today where he's like, for the Batman v Superman, he's only doing the Superman part, and he's hired someone else to come in and do Batman?
Really?
Because he doesn't want to step on, the whole Nolan legacy of him doing that Batman.
Well, I mean, it must be hard to do a different Batman score.
So he's kind of taking himself out of it. He says, I'm going to score Superman. And he's hired this other guy, and I can't remember his name, who's going to come in and score Batman. It's kind of interesting.
Interesting. Yeah. That's neat. So that'll be next time, and until then,
see you
thanks
guys
for listening.
In the dead of the night, you are